Oh, Fix, what's popping? So recently, I had a conversation with ChatGPT about negative risk reward, and it really changed my mind on negative risk rewards a little bit. So y'all know, if you guys follow, that I switched back to 1-to-ones. I was doing 5-to-ones, 10-to-ones, and 20-to-ones before negative risk reward, and then I eventually switched back to 1-to-ones. Through all of my data that I found, the whole reason I switched back to 1-to-ones is that I found out that a 1-to-one with the stop profit was performing a lot better. Okay. Now, if we look at the data with all of these 10-to-one, 5-to-one, 2-to-one, and 1-to-one, 2-to-one is performing better. But the 10-to-one and the 5-to-one are about the same as the 1-to-one. The only thing that is performing better is the 1-to-one with the stop profit. And it's always performed better. But if we take the actual risk rewards alone by itself, it seems like a negative risk reward does a lot better. So I was just looking at this data, just trying to figure out what I really want to do. Had a conversation with ChatGPT, and basically the entire idea behind what ChatGPT was saying was that this is a screen recording from my phone. Basically, the idea what ChatGPT was saying is that when you have something like a 20-to-one or 10-to-one risk reward, you're able to compound your account a lot faster because a 1-to-one, let's say for example, a 1-to-one, your account's like $1,000, right? $1,000, and then, let's say 2 months from now, you had a good month and then you had a bad month, and now your account's at $1,100. So it hasn't grown that much. Whereas something like a 10-to-one or a 20-to-one, your account started at 1,000, and now a couple months later, because you're risking a lot more, it's at 1,500 because you are just constantly winning. Every single trade you take is a win for the most part, and you're able to constantly compound that account. And it made a lot of sense when whatever the fuck, ChatGPT was talking about it, because if you're able to constantly grow the account, and if every single trade you take, you win a little bit, so you're basing the risk off of that little bit that you made. So now the account's at 1,050, and now you're basing the risk off of that. Now the account's at 1,200, you're basing the risk off of that. Now it's at 1,500, you're basing the risk off of that. So over time, you're able to compound the account more and more and more because it's consistently growing. So the equity curve is like this the entire time. You're barely ever losing. It's constantly going up, whereas a 1-to-one equity curve is a lot more back and forth. So when it's down here, and this is $1,000, and now it's at 800 because you lost, you're basing the risk off of this. So it's growing slower when it's down here. Then eventually it gets all the way up here, and it's going up, and now you're risking the same percentage, but you're making more per trade, and then it's back down here, so you're making less per trade, and then vice versa. Whereas this is constantly on an up curve the entire time. So eventually, I feel like the account with a 20-to-one or a 10-to-one will be able to grow more, even though if we look at this percentage, they've made the same percentage. But I feel like in the long run, these would actually 10-to-one, 5-to-1, 2-to-1 would actually make more money. More so, these two would make more money because you're constantly winning on it. So ChatGPT kind of opened my eyes to this a little bit. So this is everything that it says. Basically what it's saying, I'll just pause it so you guys can read it. Basically what's going on is exactly what I said. Small wins accumulate over a long period of time. You're able to compound it pretty much every single week, month, consistently. And it makes more sense. Whereas a 1-to-one, 1-to-2, 1-to-3, it varies a lot more. There's so much more variation in how much it grows. The fluctuation of the win rate is so much more that I don't know. I don't know if you could compound an account as fast as a smaller risk reward. And it said all these words that I didn't know, so I asked it what the heck it meant. So that's what this is down here. Expected value, and then arithmetic and geometric. And yeah, so it was this whole entire conversation that I had. And I have this other screenshot which simplifies everything. A 21 fluctuating between a 98 and 99% win rate, which so far, from all the data that I have, it's always been roughly this, sometimes a little bit higher. will almost certainly outperform everything else and positive systems as long as the losses are not so large that they wipe out your gains, which obviously they'll wipe out about 20 trades if you're doing a 20 to 1, but overall will wipe out all your gains. The fluctuations are too small to matter if you're compounding compared to the stability you get. And it makes sense. It makes sense if you think about it in the long term over 5 years of data. If you think about having a 1-to-1, like year one, you might have the 1-to-1 do great and you win 53 out of 100 trades. So you're up 6%, right? Risking 1%, win 53, lose 7. And then the next year you might break even. You might not make anything, and then the next year after that, what if you lose 1%? Or what if you make only 1%, 2%? Well, by that point, the 20 to 1 will probably catch up because the 20 to 1 being able to be what? 98 through 99, 99, this fucking thing, 99% win rate. What if you're risking 1% to get 0.05%? You win 98, 99% of trades every single year. You'll probably make 3 to 4% every single year, right? So then you do that times 5 years, it's going to be 12. 15 to 20%, right? Whereas a 1-to-1 every single year, you don't know what it's going to be. It could be 1%, 2%, 3%. It could vary. It could vary anywhere between 0 to 5%, 6% per year. And it could even have some slightly losing years, So it's just like overall, what would be able to compound the fastest? I think I've completely, just from that, of what ChatGPT said. And a few people that I talked to said, don't listen to ChatGPT for trading advice, which I understand. It's a fucking computer. Like, it doesn't know. But at the same time, what it's saying does make sense. If you're able to consistently compound every single trade over a long period of time, that shit will grow faster than, like, the last, I think, since I've started calling out 1-to-1s, I'm pretty sure I've gone like 21 and 19 or something. Like, I mean, I'm up like 1%, 2%, something like that in the last, 2 months since I've been calling out 1-to-1s again. Think about how much that's fluctuated back and forth versus if I would have been calling out, and I did the math on this, I would have made slightly more with a 20-to-1 in the past. Since I've been calling out 1-to-1s again, I would have made slightly more with a 20-to-1. Now, that's just percentage gain, but you also got to think about what I'm talking about right now, where the compounding effect on your account, you will have probably made a lot more than just, if you're only looking at just the percentage gain, but you're also not basing it off. I wasn't basing it off of, well, my account is X amount of money, and then by now it's compounded to a point to where, well, it's growing more than just on paper. It would be 1% more or 0.5% more with a 20-to-1. That's something that I didn't think about. And now that makes a lot of sense. So just voicing my opinions, I just would love somebody to talk to me in the comments and be like, hey man, this is right, you're wrong. Don't do that, don't switch, whatever you guys think. But right now, I'm genuinely like, okay, I'm doing the same shit that I did before, where I'm like, I might just stop calling out trades for a couple months and go back to revisiting these. I don't know which one would be better. I kind of think that the 10-to-1 might be better overall than this. I think these win percentages on average are too close to where it would make sense to do this. I think a 10-to-1 makes a little bit more sense to do overall. Might go back to that. I don't know, but overall, doing this, it's like I've gone back to 1-to-1s and it feels great. It feels good to not really care about losses because one win will make it all up. But at the same time, something that I've realized about having something like a 20-to-1 or a 10-to-1 is that there's a few things that come along with it, which is, I believe now, the compounding aspect of it, but also it turns trading into a consistent income, right? Which, what I've realized by going back to a 1-to-1 is that's not a thing. Like, I've had last month, or I think it was, yeah, I think it was September. I'm not sure. I can't remember, but I had a month where I didn't make anything. Right when I went back to the 1-to-1. Every single month. Let me fucking fact check that. I don't remember. But every single month that I was doing negative risk reward, let's see. You fucking fuck. 1%. What was the other one? -3%. Every single, if we go back to the other data, back to April, 12%. That's based off of 5% risk, but still, it's positive. I mean, I don't know what the fuck that is divided by 5. Let's see. Another 5%. Or I mean 13%, but that's 5% risk. Let's see. In March, 1%. Oh, we had a losing month, brother. 8.5. Again, I think this is 5% risk. Oh, that's it. Okay. So that, because I skipped a few months in there. So that's it. But every single month was profitable. Every single month was, except for that one, but every single month for the most part was profitable. And I think that what happens is if you have a negative risk reward, you can be like, okay, well, with a 10-to-1, I'm going to call out, or I'm going to take 30 trades this month. I'm going to average 7 to 8 trades a week. Or let's just say, fucking, I don't know, let's just say 40. Let's say 10 trades a week. I'm going to average 10 trades a week. You can know, for the most part, you can probably say that you're going to win 38 out of the 40, probably, right? Maybe 39 and 1, 38 and 2. You can pretty much consistently say that. So it turns trading into a consistent income. Whereas the 1-to-1 is so fucking, it fluctuates so much, which is something that I didn't think about before. So I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. Also, I think the mentality aspect. There's two sides to the mentality. Is that one thing I felt when I was doing negative risk reward before was that I was a little scared to lose because it would wipe out a lot of trades. But the other aspect to it was that it was comforting to know that I could place 2 or 3 limits and come back and be like, I have a 90, with a 10-to-1, I have like probably a 95, 96% chance of winning this trade. On average, so far from what I've seen with a 10-to-1 is it's roughly around 95, 96% win rate. That feels good. That feels good to be able to do that. So that feels good. Whereas the 1-to-1, it's really back and forth, and you never really know what's going to happen. Even though you win a lot more, it's really back and forth. And I don't know. I feel like somebody posted in the Discord a screenshot of what somebody else was saying on, I think it was Reddit. And the guy was like, you're going to have either with higher risk reward, I think the gist of it, if I can remember, is he was saying that either higher risk reward, you're either going to have like losing streaks so you could wipe out your whole shit. Or you can have a negative risk reward where you just wipe out a whole bunch of one trade, but you're able to gain that back pretty fast and pretty consistent is what I got from it. And that makes sense. It makes sense. If you have something like a 1-to-1, 1-to-2, you're going to have big, long losing streaks sometimes. Well, that will wipe out a fuck ton of profits, a fuck ton of trades. And if you are able to have a 10-to-1 or a 20-to-1 or a 5-to-1 where you're consistently able to just grow the account over and over and over for a long period of time, I think that might make a little bit more sense in terms of long-term compounding, because you got to think about the separation that these two would have after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years of trading your account. Well, you're going to be able to compound an account a lot faster if you're just consistently winning. Even though the wins are really, really small, I feel like having consistent losing streaks and really back and forth, and you might have 6 months go by and you've barely made any money with a 1-to-1, whereas the 5, 10, 20-to-1 has been making money the entire time and compounding the account the entire time. I think the compound effect will apply a lot easier with consistent small gains versus inconsistent big gains. But I don't know. This YouTube channel, like I said, is just a way to place my thoughts. I would love some feedback. So this is just me rethinking the entire negative risk reward thing. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong about switching. But that's what this is all about, right? Just a journey of trying to figure this shit out. But that's it, man. OFX out.